a child star and genuine will. Hear him sing, watch him dance, he'll put you under his spell. Behind the scenes, Uncle John or buddy time with his kids. Everybody around the world, tell what time it is.
It's time to smoke and drive with Rick.
Jump back, kiss myself.
It's time to smoke and drive with Rick. With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
Hey everybody, how are you doing, stupid babies? Welcome to the very first installment of This Bird's Eye View. I am Rick Siegel. If you're new to the channel, hi. Go ahead and click subscribe and like and comment down below, and we shall talk about various sundry things, including today, the very first installment of This Bird's Eye View, where I will do a lot of different things. Movie reviews of American films that you guys have asked me to recommend, which is the very first thing I'm doing here. So let's just get crack-a-lackin'. The first film I'm going to talk to you guys about is a film that I just watched with Indrani. It's a film that is very near and dear to my heart because it's one of the first films that absolutely floored me in terms of acting. The very first film that ever inspired me to be an actor was the film Rocky, which I saw when I was 7 years old. And then another film shortly thereafter, a few years after that, was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and that was Jack Nicholson's performance. When I was 15, this movie came out, and it's Amadeus. And in particular was the performance of F. Murray Abraham as Salieri. Give you some credit where credit is due, and obviously I'm making this recommendation for you to watch it if you've never seen it. I'm not going to give you any spoilers here in these bird's eye views because many of you are taking my recommendation and you will watch this for the first time, I hope. And Amadeus came out in 1984. It was written by Peter Shaffer, who also wrote the Broadway play. It started off on stage in New York. It actually may have started in London, like a lot of plays do. I'm not sure, but I know it ran on Broadway, and it was adapted from the stage play to screen by Peter Shaffer, and it was directed by a legendary film director named Milos Forman. It starred Tom Hulce as Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. I would assume you're all familiar with Mozart. If you are not, you need to familiarize yourself with the man who is, in my opinion and many people's opinions, there's argument about it, but the greatest living music composer of all time. A lot of the music is from Mozart's works, and the film is about 3 hours long if you watch the director's cut, which is the only thing that's available right now on Amazon Prime. And I would highly recommend, anytime you're watching a movie and there's the option for the director's cut, watch the director's cut. There's a reason they call it the director's cut. And if you're not familiar with the director's cut, what the director's cut is, oftentimes the producers will tell a director that they need to trim the film for a couple of reasons. They need to take out some content because they want to get a different rating on the film. A lot of producers don't want an R-rated film because it means less people will go see it, and they want it to be PG-13, so they'll ask them to cut it, or the runtime is too long and they'll ask them to cut it. The director's cut is basically giving you the director's original vision before it had to be cut, either for a rating or for a slower runtime. And the runtime on this is 3 hours, so for those of you who are watching Indian film, that's a regular runtime for you. And I really encourage you to watch it, first of all, because you're going to learn something about Mozart. You need to know going in that this isn't definitive history about the life of Mozart. There are some artistic liberties that are taken. You will get a beautiful story. This was a winner of 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. And again, I told you I was 15 when I saw this film, and I remember I was so moved by F. Murray Abraham's performance in Amadeus. It is, for me, and having just watched it again with Indrani, it is for me, I can talk about a lot of different performances by actors and actresses, and I'll say they were believable, they were magnificent, they were astonishing, they were incredible. Yeah, F. Murray Abraham in this is sublime, beautiful, enchanting, and mesmerizing. I found myself again, like I was that first time I saw it in theaters, watching him and utterly captivated by the gorgeousness of the man's artistry. What you see in his eyes and his expressiveness and everything he does is just a beauty to behold. And I was so rooting for him when he was nominated, and I remember when he won, I was jumping up and down. It was one of those years, and this shows you how long I've been caring about the Academy Awards. I was 15 at the time, and I remember thinking, if they don't give this to F. Murray Abraham, this is a crime, this is an injustice. And I highly, highly recommend that you watch Amadeus. It's a beautiful film with beautiful music, obviously, a wonderful performance by Tom Hulce, who plays Mozart, and those are the primary people in the story, is Tom Hulce as Mozart and F. Murray Abraham as Salieri. And Salieri was the court composer at the time that Mozart came around. And what you basically see is the story of this. It's from Salieri's vantage point. And I don't want to tell you any more than that, other than to encourage you to please take the time to watch it. And I have a little story to share with you as well, of a little brush with greatness that I got to have. So I've told you Tom Hulce plays Mozart. And there's a theater here in Los Angeles called the Pasadena Playhouse that is one of the most respected theaters, not just in Los Angeles, but in the nation. Anybody who's done theater work has worked at the Pasadena Playhouse. The most recent name to have been there a couple of years ago was Al Pacino. I actually got to see Al Pacino on stage at the Pasadena Playhouse. And when you're at the Pasadena Playhouse, you can see the photographs of the legends of acting that have done performances there. And I had the honor of being in a play directed by David Lee called Camelot. It was his version of the classic play. We were a smaller cast, and I remember when we were downstairs in costuming, the costume lady handed me a belt, and I looked at the belt before I put it on, and on the inside, written in black marker, was T. Hulce. And I looked at it, and I looked at her, and I showed it to her, and I said, "This is who I think it is, right?" She said, "Yep." I went, "I'm wearing Mozart's belt." It was very exciting for me because I obviously, like many in America, had not really known who Tom Hulce was at the time of Amadeus. And Amadeus is what catapulted him into the mindsets of everybody with the role that he created. It really is a wonderful film. There is a scene, guys, that all I'll tell you is it's a scene where it has to do with a piece of music that Mozart is composing. And once you've seen it, come back and comment in here so we can talk about it. And I'll probably, once I know you've seen the film, I may go back and do it as a definitive study about what makes for a great scene, because at every level this scene is simply magnificent. It's a scene where a piece of Mozart's music's being composed, and the way that it's written and the way that the actors are portraying the moment and what they do with the score, it's just absolutely beautiful. So if you want to see a beautifully mesmerizing performance by F. Murray Abraham and an utterly believable and enjoyable performance by Tom Hulce playing an incredibly legendary character, and if you want to enjoy beautiful excuse me, beautiful costuming, just exquisite costuming, exquisite production design. I don't have a list in front of me, but I'm pretty confident that of the things that it won for the Oscars that year, it got costuming and production design and score and direction, and I know F. Murray Abraham obviously, and it won Best Picture. And then put in the comments here, tell me what you thought about it. Hopefully it enriches your life and you're all the happier and blessed by the fact that you got to watch it, and hopefully this is your first introduction to F. Murray Abraham, who is, for me, one of the greatest actors to ever have graced the screen. I love F. Murray Abraham. He's one of those actors that if I met him, I don't know what I would say. I would be utterly gobsmacked. Well, that's what a bird's eye view is going to kind of look like, because I'm not going to give away spoilers like I said at the outset. And again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit like, comment, and let's talk about this. I especially want to know what you think of it. Don't read comments if you don't want spoilers, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have some conversations in there about the film. And I'm going to continue to recommend films to you guys just like this. I will probably recommend Rocky pretty soon and Cuckoo's Nest, as I just referred, but I have nearly 400 films on my all-time favorite list, so we're going to be here a while. And if you would be so kind as to click on the link to Patreon and support me if you can, I would be very grateful. If you can't do it right now, that's okay. I'm just glad you spent this time with me. And as always, watch movies, support the arts, watch our stupid reactions, and stay stupid. Now, go watch Amadeus and come back and let's talk about it.